Hi team, my name is Dana. I'm the facility director here at TAPS Brewery and Barrel Room. I've been with TAPS since April 2019 and just took over management of this facility upon return from the shelter in place in June. Today I'm going to talk about the beers that we brew here at TAPS Brewery and Barrel Room, both stylistically as well as the core beers that we offer year round. So walking you through a flight here, we typically start you with the more simple, less complex beers and build you up to the more expressive beers, being our Imperial Stouts or double IPAs. So to start here with TAPS Light Lager, this is a relatively thin-bodied, simple, clean beer, about 3.5%. In general, it's what people would order if they like our Coors Light or a Bud Light or lighter ales. You would pick one of these guys. What I have here is our TAPS American Cream Ale. This is one of our flagship ales and one of our core beers that we offer year-round. It's also used in many of the recipes that our chefs develop. It is a very simple blonde ale, a very historical style, similar to that of 805, but a little less hop-forward. This is crystal clear. This is our filtered Hefeweizen that we won a gold medal at GABF 2019. This beer is a filtered version of our traditional Hefeweizen, so it is clear and a little bit more simple on the palate. Hefeweizens are known for their esters of orange and a little bit of the spice that you get from the wheat profile in a wheat beer. Yes. So this right here is our Shaboom Boom. It is a West Coast IPA. West Coast IPAs tend to be more hop forward, more citrus, more bitter, and as compared to their sister IPA, hazy IPAs. And they also tend to be higher in ABV than what is pale ales. They'll typically be between about 6.5% to 7.5%. This here is our House Hazy IPA, Juicy Lou. Juicy Lou runs about 7% alcohol and is more full-bodied and fruit-forward as compared to the West Coast IPA. It has reduced bitterness compared to West Coast IPAs and has a lot of packed oats and wheat to give it the opacity that it does so that it is just that hazy. This guy here is our backcountry beer, the big brother to Cheve. Both are Vienna lagers, which are stylistically more malt forward than traditional pilsners and lagers like you see with Bjorn. This guy is packed full of oats, wheat, and rye to give it a little more complex of a backbone. And it's definitely biscuity and toasty on the palate. Right? This is Irish Red. Irish Red is our house red ale, won lots of medals at GABF. It is more toasty and roasted on the palate, more malt forward, and a medium-bodied beer. You definitely get notes of the nuttiness from the specific malts and the chocolate malts that we use in the beer. This is Impetus, our bourbon barrel-aged Baltic Stout. Baltic Stouts are very dark-styled beers, and being an Imperial Baltic Stout, it means that it is also high alcohol content, as compared to your dry Irish Stout like Guinness, which tends to be about 4 to 5% alcohol. This particular variant of stout has been barrel-aged for up to 18 months and does not have any additional extracts or flavors added, so the fudge and chocolate qualities that come off of it are all from the barrel aging process. All right, so next beer that we have is Poseidon. It is our house double IPA. We also have Base 6, which is one of our rotating double IPAs that you can also find on tap of our locations. Double IPAs are the bigger version of regular single IPAs. They are higher in ABV. Most ours are about 8 to 9%, although it's not uncommon to find double IPAs to go up as high as about 11 or 12%. Poseidon here is a little bit more fruit forward. You'll get notes of pineapple, guava, and mango, whereas Base 6 is a little bit more dank and resinous comparatively. Yes. This is our grapefruit IPA. This is our house West Coast IPA with grapefruit added. In this case, our grapefruit IPA that we have on tap right now is Shaboom Boom with grapefruit added. However, it is not uncommon for us to use Flex for the grapefruit IPA as well. So this is Shakaraka, our India Pale Lager. The difference between an India Pale Lager and an India Pale Ale is the yeast used to ferment the beer. Lagers ferment at cooler temperatures, whereas ales ferment at warmer temperatures. So this is a lager version of an IPA. This is Madagascar Red on nitro. The difference between this beer and our other beers is just that, the nitrogen gas. We don't use CO2 for this beer. We use an entirely different bubble that is much smaller, so it presents a more velvety mouthfeel. This particular beer is actually Irish Red with vanilla added. So when pouring a beer into a half pint, we want to make sure that we pour 8 ounces of beer with about 12 ounces of head. So we'll go on ahead and pour the beer and make sure we effervesce it a little bit to get a good head space. Once we're done, we want to rinse it to make sure that there's no beer left on the glass, and then we present it to the guest, logo out. One of the best ways to determine what a guest wants to drink is ask what they typically do drink, and then assess what beers in our profile match that. For example, when people say they're usually into lighter styles like cream ales or lagers, a good go-to for that is always going to be your American cream ale. When people want beers that are more malt forward, Irish Red or our Impetus is going to be your choice there. Impetus is definitely a specialty, very esoteric beer that people need to be open to a large, complex flavor bomb, so to speak. When talking about beer and describing beer to a guest, you want to use 3 main points and 3 main adjectives. You want to talk about the aroma of the beer, the body of the beer, and the flavor profile of the beer. In regards to pricing, usually our lower alcohol beers or more simple beers, for instance, light lager and American cream ale, are at your lower price point. Once you get to your hazy IPAs or hazy pale ales, which include a lot more malts and hops in the recipe development, they get to be more of your middle tier price point. And once you get to your barrel aged styles, those are going to be your highest price point. Barrel aged beers, because it takes anywhere from 12 to 24 months for the beer to be brewed, barreled, and packaged, they are definitely a premium product which commands a much higher price. If a guest is unsure about what they would like to order, go on ahead and offer them a 1 ounce splash of your recommended beer. You can do this 2 to 3 times depending on how successful your first few tasters were on the customer's palate. Typically by that point in time though, if the customer does not like the first 3 beers that you added, it may be time for them to settle on something more common like Irish Red or American Cream. If your guest is unsure about what to drink or what to order, feel free to offer them a sample or 2, about 1 ounce, for them to taste and determine if they're willing to commit to a full pour.